I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is now 6 p.m. This is a special meeting of the Kaneland Board of Education. We'd like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. And Mr. McCauley, Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board Secretary Julie Orfel is absent for the next two meetings. Lucky her. I didn't say that. And we will need to nominate a board secretary for those meetings. I will now take nominations for Secretary Pro Tem.
Nominate Jackie Bogan.
Second.
Okay, Jackie Bogan was nominated and seconded. And a roll call, please.
Sure. Mrs. Simmons.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Or aye. Am I supposed to do aye? Sorry, we're not doing aye.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalkup.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
And Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye. All right, motion carries 7-0. Dr. Bogan is now board secretary. Congratulations.
I like how she put your name in there, so we knew to say it too. So
Perfect.
And a call, attendance call, roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Mankivsky.
Here.
Mr. Kleisner.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Dr. Lawler.
Here.
Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons.
here.
And Mr. Stalkup.
Here.
With 7 members present, we have a quorum. Is there anything the board would like to move from consent to new business? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalkup.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. The agenda is approved. It is now time for board/superintendent salutes. I will turn it over to Dr. Rowling.
All right, well, tonight we are saluting a fantastic young lady that has some pretty exciting news to share. So I'm going to hand it off to Dr. Mum to introduce.
Yeah, we are very excited. Thank you for having us, and we're excited we have a super writer with us. I'm going to give a little history real quick of our program, and then Mrs. Aversa is going to give us a little bit about our amazing writer. Every year for the last 6 years, Kaneland has taken part in the 4 schools or 5 schools one book program, which is linked to the national one book, one school program. It is done across the nation. It's where we select one book and we read it in all of our elementary schools at the same time. Along with that, we have different activities, trivia, and then we also build escape rooms that go with that book. As part of it, we reach out to the authors of the book that we select, and we give them a video tour of the escape rooms, and we share our activities. About a year ago, one of the authors was so impressed with our work at Kaneland that he reached out to us and said, in writing my second book, I would like to do a writing contest and include and highlight one of your students in a whole chapter of my next book. And so he is just starting book 2. The author is Mr. J from the Patrick Picklebottom Mysteries. It was our one book, not this past year, but the year prior to that. And maybe you remember reading his 10 mysteries with your own students. He's just started his second book. And so this spring, he did a writing contest for any students 3rd through 5th grade. They could write their very own mystery, submit it to me. I sent them into Mr. J, and he read every single one of the submissions. And he came back and he wrote to me and said, Sarah, the mystery of the gum chewer is by far the most amazing mystery I've ever read. And I won't tell you how it ends because you have to buy his book and read it to find out. But Mr. J has decided that that will be one of the chapters within book 2, and that was a selection by one of our students. And so Mrs. Aversa is going to talk a little bit about our amazing student.
All right, I want to bring her up here. She is amazing. We want to congratulate Lila Bagnasco. Lila, come on up. But I have some great words. I reached out to her 5th grade teacher. She had Mr. Williams, and he said, Lila approaches every endeavor with remarkable passion and dedication. She exemplifies the qualities of a self-directed learner and takes ownership of her educational journey. Her creativity flourishes when presented with choices and opportunities for self-expression. Above all, Lila demonstrates a sincere commitment to excellence in all that she undertakes. She embodies the ideals and values that Kaneland strives to install in its students and serves as a model of integrity, enthusiasm, and academic excellence. And I can echo that from her teacher. And anytime she's in the school, if there is something she wants to put on, whether it was a presentation and then she had to work with other students about, making sure that it all followed, policy and procedure, and they got the handbook out and even referenced it. And she just really goes above and beyond academically. Inside of the school and outside of the school. This girl right here dances, tumbles, models nonstop as well. So she in school not only pushes herself and is always asking for something more or creating that something more for herself or others, but outside of the school, she really pushes herself. So a lot of amazing things are going to come from Lila, and I couldn't be more excited to present you with this recognition. So congratulations again.
All right, well, I look forward to reading that when it comes out. Don't tell me the end, though, okay? All right, congratulations.
Dr. Bogan,
Nothing this evening.
any board members? All right. The board appreciates everyone in attendance at this evening and invites you to stay as we move into new business. But the weather is nice, and 6 months from now, it won't be nearly as nice. Move into the new business part of the meeting. We understand that not everyone is able to stay for the entire meeting, but we wanted to make sure you know this is an open meeting, and you can come and go as you need, and we look forward to seeing you at future meetings. All right, tonight's consent agenda contains the following information. Action items: approval of minutes of the May 28th, 2025 regular meeting, approval of personnel, approval of the mobile classroom application, and informational items, student suspension data report, and the Freedom of Information Act report. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent items listed.
So moved. Second.
All right, and a roll call, please.
Mrs. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr. Cook?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Dr. Lawler?
Aye.
Mr. Stalco?
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky?
Aye.
And Mr. Kleisner?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The consent agenda is approved. Public comment? No? Okay. Yeah.
Is there anyone that,
Well, I'm sorry.
do you want me to go look to make sure, or
He looked.
there's no one? Okay.
Does anybody want to make comment? You sure?
You want to be out of here just as quick as.
All right.
Got it. All right, the first item of new business is the approval of the 2024-2025 budget amendment with public hearing. As a reminder, I will open up the public hearing and we'll have Dr. Bogan share information on the budget amendment, followed immediately by a public comment section. And as a reminder, we, the board, do not debate or engage during public comments. There will be time for board discussion after the hearing closes. It is now 6:09 p.m. and I will open the public hearing on the 2024-2025 budget amendment for Kaneland Community Unit School District number 302. Dr. Bogan, if you'd please provide more information.
Yes, so you may remember at our last board meeting on May 28th, we did talk about this upcoming board hearing and the need for a budget amendment. Tonight, we are seeking a budget amendment specific to the Operations and Maintenance Fund. We are looking to add approximately $496,000 to the expenditure side of things. And that's really to cover a couple of different items. The biggest one being electricity costs. I did provide a breakdown of what we anticipate additional costs by school to be. I do also want to note, just like I did before, I'll reiterate it. This is like the all-in, the most amount of money that we think that we would spend. It's very conservative. So I do think that we will come in less than that $350,000 for this last quarter of the year. We also added $200,000 for site improvement at John Shields, and then $46,000 for some capital and non-capital equipment as well that was purchased at 4 of our 7 schools. Again, the $496,000 being added to the budget is a very conservative estimate. We really think that it's gonna, actual expenditures will fall between about $290,000 and about $315,000. when all is said and
All
done.
the electricity,
That includes all the electricity, yes.
where the waiver, you would think?
Mm-hmm, correct. We can't spend more than is what approved, so, you know, very conservatively, you know, with knowing that we can't exceed the approved number.
This is for, this fiscal year or
This is for the current fiscal
Current
year,
fiscal,
yeah,
got it,
so we're
okay.
amending our current budget.
current, but understood? Thank you.
Yep, so I did, you know, we are required, we have to put it on the ISB budget form, so that is pages and pages. That's why I provided the account number, the location, and then the specific dollar amount, because that money all gets rolled up into one essentially account line in the ISB form. So it's really hard to see that breakout where it's going.
The site improvement here for the 200,000, that's outside of referendum, that's like urgent needs.
Correct, yep, and it was work that was already completed, this past year.
Okay.
Well, just clarifying, what's the difference between non-capital equipment and capital equipment?
Yep, it's just the dollar amount, so non-capital would be anything that's below $5,000, and capital equipment would be anything that's above that $5,000.
And then you would depreciate that, any capital equipment over
Correct.
whatever life? Okay.
Yep.
Is there a reason why some of the schools, like John Shields, have $150,000 of electricity? I mean, some of them just leave the light on, but.
No, so I think part of it is right, just looking at what we budgeted for the year and making sure that that's tightened up. John Shields did have less, and that could be directly related to some of the solar that's at that location that we hadn't taken into account. And so that's why there are different amounts. But this year, we did look very, very closely at what the electricity spend was at each location and really tried to tighten up that budget. I know you'll see more of it next week, at next week's meeting for the tentative budget presentation. But really making sure that we looked at prior usage, also things that are happening, you know, at that building that may have an impact, and then also working really closely with our third-party consultant at NANIA to figure out what's going on with market conditions and what we can expect for electricity cost increases. But you'll hear more about that as well.
All right, thank you, Dr. Logan. At this time, we will invite the public to make any comments on the budget amendment, keeping in mind the guidelines stated earlier in the evening. Any comments from the public? Hearing no comments, I will close the public hearing at 6:14 p.m. I will now open up discussion among board on the budget amendment.
I jumped the gun.
Yeah.
And the renewables generated are credited towards us
Correct.
on the solar?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like net metering services. It is net metering,
Yes.
isn't it? All right. I will entertain a motion that the Board of Education approve the 2024-2025 budget amendment as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. McCauley, seconded by Ms. Simmons. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Cook. Mr. McCall.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler. Mr. Stalkup.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
The motion carries 7-0. The budget amendment is approved. The second item of new business is the approval of policies and exhibits for review and monitoring. First reading, Dr. Rowling, if you'd please provide more information.
Sure. So, as the board knows, we belong to Press, which is a service that provides us updates and recommendations related to board policy. This is part of a normal review and monitoring cycle. There are no substantive changes in any of these policies. There really are no things to consider or options related to them. So they're listed here, and the board has been provided with the packet in their board packet. Any questions?
Any discussion? All right, I will now entertain a motion that the Board of Education approves the recommended policy reviews and updates as presented by IASB and Press on first reading.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalkup.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Policies and exhibits are approved on first reading. The third item of new business is the approval of the construction management agreement. Is it a contract yet?
No, it's not a contract yet. It's authorization to.
Authorization to engage. Dr. Rowland, if you please provide more information.
I'm going to let Dr. Bogan do most of the work here, but I do want to publicly thank Mr. Stalkup and Ms. Simmons for spending a significant amount of time as we reviewed construction management companies, vetted them out, and sought to get the best service for the best price for the exciting upcoming process. So I want to thank them and then hand it off to Dr. Bogan.
Yes, thank you. This definitely was a lengthy process, and really to all of the firms from the beginning of the RFP process all the way through interviews and then the selection of our finalists. All of the firms really, did demonstrate strong qualifications. After we went through the interview process and we reviewed fees, administration, we are recommending that the board selects Nicholas and Associates as our construction manager at risk with a guaranteed max price. Couple of things about that. Attached to the memo, you do have a breakdown of some of the costs, some of the different items that we are making sure to include in our contract. These were items that were discussed throughout the interview and selection process with Nicholas and Associates. Financially, their proposal is structured around the preliminary construction budget of roughly $105 million. They are estimating essentially an 18-month construction schedule, so not from start to finish of the entire process, but pretty much shovels in the dirt, which we would anticipate would start in the spring of 26, so coming up here very quickly. Their management fee is 1.9% of the total construction costs, which is just under $2 million. This fee is essentially at risk because it means that Nicholas and Associates will take on the responsibility for managing the project within the budget and schedule constraints that we've set forth in the contract that we're currently negotiating. In addition to this fee, the contract will also include fixed general conditions estimated at approximately $1.95 million. This is for things to cover things like salaries, expenses of essential project staff, project managers, site superintendents, engineers, safety officers, pretty much everyone who oversees those day-to-day operations. But it also includes some things like on-site trailers, temporary facilities, testing that may need to happen, other site necessities. Those would be billed at actual cost with no markup. We also have included in here estimated about $525,000, as well as $200,000 for builder's risk insurance policy, which we would secure. Essentially, the package that they've proposed and that we're currently working to finalize that language around is a total construction management compensation combining the at-risk and fixed general conditions. It will also include about a 4% contingency, which is estimated about $4.2 million. So overall, everything with all of their fees, it comes in at about 10.15%, or about $10.65 million of total construction costs. The information that they provided, it was detailed, it was very transparent. They were very readily available to answer every and all question that we have. Like, I can't really stress that to the board enough. I see Mr. Salkop and Mr. Simmons and Kurt are sort of nodding their heads and shaking, because we as a group, as an interview committee panel, we really asked a lot of questions, and we really tried to hammer out things going into contract language negotiations so that we were all on the same page to make this as seamless as possible. But based on all the information that was provided by them, as well as everyone else, we believe that Nicholas and Associates is the best firm for this project to work alongside the district and with our architect. What questions, or do Mr. Salkop or Mrs. Simmons, would you like to add anything about the process, or?
I'd like to, thank you guys, Dr. Rowling and you, Jackie, for the efforts in this, and to note for the board's knowledge, they also do pre-construction fees for free as part of this package, right?
Mhm.
That's correct?
Yep. And that is listed for everyone on that Exhibit 1 of the CM agreement.
Yep. And they were responsive. They did Harder as well, correct? They built this.
They built it.
Yes, yep,
For us.
they worked on
So-
Harder, and then they also worked on the auditorium project as well.
What led you to advise, what made this company stand out, like what we should go with?
We did. We really put them through the ringer when it came to, because, we saw multiple companies, and so we met multiple times looking at everybody's, all their numbers and stuff like that, and challenged them. And so they responded absolutely every time. They wanted this contract. They wanted to be with us. They have worked with us. They have a really good reputation already. Mark too, so operation-wise too, they have worked with them, so their recommendation too. They also talked, my biggest thing too was, are they gonna be, having a voice to the community? They'll do that. And then also our students too, this is a once-in-a-lifetime, as Kurt always says, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for our school district and our community. So like Fox Valley, those kids and stuff like that. So they're willing to bring our kids into, so they can experience some of that. And so looking at the future too. So it's not just a project for them, it's a whole family kind of thing for us. They understand our community very, very well, so. Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to point out too, Dr. Bogan and I did a lot of background work. They had stellar recommendations from other school districts there. They do a lot of work in the education field, and everyone we called, everyone we talked to. In fact, I was at a training where somebody went out of their way to come over and talk to me and say, I heard you're considering Nicholas, you really, you can't go wrong. So that probably speaks louder than anything that Nicholas would have shared with us, because if you're willing to say that, then obviously they did a nice job, so.
I just had the one question. So if we're at 140 million, that roughly 10 million is going to be coming out of that, correct? Okay,
Correct,
so that
yep.
drops. I mean, is there discussion like what projects, what we're losing, what's
No.
kind of our?
This has always been figured in as an expected cost.
Okay. Oh,
So,
it was.
yeah,
okay.
Yes.
so when we went for $140.2 million, it was not, that's not just
Projects.
the actual projects, that also includes architecture, includes construction management, soil testing, all of these other things are rolled into that. We estimate about $105 million total in strict construction costs.
Oh, okay.
And that could slide slightly, right, it's a percentage, so if they do
Correct.
100 million, we would get a reduced percentage then.
Okay.
You know, or if something else is under, they end up at 108, it could go up a little bit. You know, or if we don't use the contingency,
If there are change orders,
Yeah.
that,
So they say 18
Well-
months. 18 months is a good.
Yep, so I
Good
do
window.
want to clarify on the change order. So with this contract, it is a CM at risk with a guaranteed max price.
Okay.
So when we go through this initial design project and we figure out, okay, this is what the cost of the project is going to be, the only change orders that we should see are those that are self-directed, right? Like if we're changing the scope of the work, but there shouldn't be unforeseen or things that were missed. That should all be caught as part of this process. And I think that's why, one, we really wanted to get a construction manager on board early so that they're working in tandem and alongside the architect through the design phase so that they can really be looking at those designs ahead of time and ensuring that constructability, timelines can be met, all of that, because those are the big things that, you know, throw sort of the wrench into the plan, right? If you get off schedule or if you have unforeseen conditions. And that was something that Dr. Rollwing and I throughout this process is like, the budget is the budget. We cannot go over, right? That is firm. That has to be something that we stick to. And I think we really, you know, made that very clear to everyone who submitted an RFP, went through the interview process, and were finalists. And so, you know, Nicholas is very aware of like, this is the budget. We cannot go over. We do not have, you know, another pot of money somewhere. But that it's also critical that we deliver all of the items that are on this referendum need to get completed, right? We don't have the option to cut something or to cut corners on something. They have to be delivered. So.
The other thing that we challenged them on too was helping us find grants, rebates, incentives, things like that too, to bring costs down. So we kind of, that was not something that was initially, and so that was something that we asked for too, and so, because we had seen in other companies, and so they jumped on. Again, it was another one of those things of going, yes, this is something that will make, this is a priority. This is a huge priority for you, it's a huge priority for us. Plus also, they also have, they call it a client advocate, but they also have somebody that has been in the world of schools, and so he is kind of their voice too. He helps, he's got the eyes of what schools need. So he's very well, I forget what his background is.
He was a former CSBO.
CSBO.
so-
Yeah. So he,
Dr. Bogan, somewhere, I can't remember where.
Yeah, so he will also help them, you know, to know kind of the things that's, you know, that we need to, and be our advocate, so those, and that was no charge, so.
and they've worked with our architect several times.
Many, yeah.
They're gonna be doing a budget for us here as soon as they're signed up, right? And then at some point, we'll start tracking the budget with all the different schools, all the different line items for each school, et cetera.
So when it says CM fee at risk, you're saying at risk, what do we mean by that exactly?
So if they go over, so if they say, here's a set of drawings, documents for school Y, and they say, yep, I can do it for $1,000, and if they find something else that they missed, and it costs them $1,500, that $500's theirs.
Okay,
It doesn't come back to us.
got it, okay.
It also means that after we sign the subcontractor contracts, we will sign those over to Nicholas. So we won't deal with
The subcontractors.
subcontractors directly. They will manage all of those things for us.
Okay.
so Nicholas will be dispersing based upon the lien waivers that come in. It's gonna be a traditional construction
It will be,
manager,
correct,
as opposed to a general contractor. per se.
correct.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So the subs will submit to
To
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
And, okay. Anyone else? Any other members? All right, I will entertain a motion that the Board of Education approve the selection of Nicholas and Associates.
Sorry, I was joking. I said since we were on the committee, do we get to do it? Finish, sorry.
As construction management partner for the upcoming capital improvement projects supported by the 2025 referendum.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Dr. Lawler,
Aye.
Mr. Stalka,
Aye.
Mr. Mankowski,
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The construction management contract. Is it a contract? Or is
Authorization.
authorization, let's be precise, is approved. It is now time for superintendent board reports. Dr. Rowling, do you have anything that you'd like to share at this time?
Yes, I do. Credit recovery summer school is currently underway, and we have about 70 students that are earning credits towards graduation over the coming weeks. Our other summer school programs will begin on July 7th.
ESY, is that,
ESY
is that,
is also,
it's
I
right
believe it's
now,
also
right?
underway, yes.
It's underway
I
right
have to
now,
check
yeah.
with Ms. Eggleston, but
Okay.
that is handled through
Right,
Mid-Valley.
yeah, oh, Mid-Valley,
Yeah.
handles ESY.
Yep. At our next meeting, we will need to make committee appointments for the Education, Finance and Facility, Human Resources, and Community Outreach Committees. Technically, according to board policy, that is the responsibility of our board president. So please reach out to President Mankowski with any requests or suggestions on those committees.
Great.
I looked that up today, so.
Sorry, so,
I also want to update the board that at this time, 10 of our RIFT classroom teachers have either been recalled or offered a position in the district.
great.
We still have a few support and exploratory staff that we were not able to find a position in the district for, but we are happy to have kept many of the staff that have been honorably dismissed earlier this year. Dr. Atkins will continue to keep the board up to date on all of those movements through the weekly update. And then finally, this year, as we continue to develop our administrative team, the team will be completing a book study on the Culture Code by Daniel Coyle, and I brought a copy for each of you to enjoy, read along with us. I'm going to tell you, there are 5 hard copy and 2 paper covers. It's just because the hard copy were cheaper when we did the second order. So,
Seriously?
yeah, that's what Julie said.
For saving money.
So we always go with the best deal. So I will give those to the board at the conclusion of tonight's meeting, and that's all I have.
All right, Dr. Bogan,
I do not have anything this evening.
board members?
Just thank you guys again for going through all the interview process, and it's a huge deal for obviously the district, so I'm sure it was painstaking, and I'm sure you left no stone unturned. So thank you so much for coming in and getting the best company possible for us.
Thank you, good job. All right, anyone else?
Is there a list of the committees, or can you email that out and what those committees represent?
For the board?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll put something in I can put it in the weekly.
okay.
All right, actually, I'll get it out earlier, just so, because our next meeting comes up pretty quick. So I'll send that out tomorrow to everybody.
All right, topics for future agendas.
I don't know if we're gonna talk about this after, but we still talk for our board retreat, and I think we need to talk about report card and some other stuff.
Board retreat, we have a tentative date, and I'm going to be engaging with a couple of providers to see if we can get that date done.
Okay.
So I sent that date to the board in the weekly update.
All right. Yeah.
I want to say it's the 21st, but that's why I write things down and sit on my desk. 23rd? Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
So I will verify as soon as I get somebody locked down for that.
Probably not. Today. It's today.
It is.
You missed it.
So yeah, that'll be our board self-evaluation
Okay,
retreat.
I'd also like to find out, or get an update as to where the curriculum and supporting materials are. And make sure it will be published before the first day of school.
So.
Parents need, go ahead,
So we have received all of the math materials.
okay?
As I've indicated before, the math curriculum is, the first trimester is done due to the constraints. Though we couldn't get that done before school ended. We hit the ground running in August under the leadership of Ms. Vaklovic and Dr. Horn to finish that up. So they'll have everything for the first trimester done, and then everything else will be done very quickly soon after. And Dr. Horn is working on the publishing right now, and as soon as Ms. Vaklovic gets in, they're gonna put that into higher gear.
So it's language arts, science, the other
I know for a fact
subjects
language arts has
already-
been updated.
already?
I can double check on science.
and supporting materials,
The supporting materials that we have, yes.
or the links to supporting materials. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I can send that link, and, you know, that parent resources page will continue to be an ongoing process.
Okay,
And one of the changes we did make when I started looking for this last time, the verbiage that was used on the website was not common language, and so we changed that right away. We're probably we're gonna try to make it even easier to find as we do our website revamp this summer, which we should be able to share more information on that in July. So the idea is to make this stuff as easy to find as possible.
and can we post something that helps parents know how to use this at home, or how they can use this when they're working with their student at home, or they have questions at home that they're trying to help their student with, or their student has a question that the parents can act as a primary resource and are equipped to be a primary resource?
Yeah, so we're working on that. So in the area of math, that is part of the package.
Yeah, okay.
In the area of math, as we bring on this new K-5 curriculum materials, that is embedded.
Okay.
And so now that we have these materials, we are going to begin working on parent guides, videos, things that we can put online so parents can access that. In relation to some of the other stuff, we'll have to make some of our own materials, and we're going to make that a priority as to how do you help your student,
Okay.
especially in those elementary years. Because quite honestly, when my kid gets to high school, I'm not sure what I'd be able to help them in. There, it's more pushing back to the teacher. But definitely, one of our initiatives over the next year, and I was actually just speaking with Dr. Horn about this the other day, is to make, just like we did with the referendum, you know, we made information accessible and easy to understand. We use short form video because that tends to be, you know, the best way to reach people. We are going to continue, we're going to make next year, we are going to work on making those types of materials for our elementary parents in terms of how do you help your kid at home? What should your kid be learning, and how do you help your kid at home? And as we embark on another round of curriculum material adoptions, and we moved, Dr. Bogan was able to help us increase that budget for curriculum materials. We moved some things around based on feedback from the teachers and the community. And so as we move through the next few years, we'll be updating additional curriculum areas, and we'll keep the board up to date on all those things too. So we are working fast and furious on those things.
The other thing I'd like to talk about is we lease out property every year, you know, district property for agriculture. And approaching our FFA chapter, if they would like to participate in the management as sort of like a lab experience on, would it be farm? It would be farm or agricultural management, agricultural land management. To make, you know, part of, and to also work on our outreach to some of the nursery folks around here, particularly those Pistic Farms, you know the ones I believe they're in the district. They're in
Yeah,
Virgil,
there's a few of them in the district.
Virgil
are, I don't
Township,
know all their names.
bunch of them in Virgil Township. Yeah, just, and Gould Farms over in Caneville Township, just to make the approach so that for those interested in agriculture, both here and now as well as career-wise, or deepening their knowledge of something of agribusiness, providing that for them.
So you're talking about workplace experiences in that field?
Yeah, I mean, because
Okay.
I've talked to Pistic, and I've talked to the Gould Farms, and they're doing food and other. They're not just producing the food; they're also starting processing.
Sure. So,
Process proper.
we can open that conversation with our agriculture classes in
Yeah.
the FFA when they come back in
When they're
August.
back in,
And
yeah.
I know that, over the next couple of years, one of our areas of focus is to increase the workplace experiences for our, especially juniors and seniors, as they kind of hone in on what they want to study. So, that'll fall right in line with that, and, so we can definitely do that.
Okay.
I like it. It's right in line with the construction management company being willing to
Right.
work with this. I mean, I like this. This is good direction.
I know we've talked, but the update on the committees for the referendum?
That will be at the next board meeting. So I will, at the second meeting of every month, I'll provide a referendum/construction update to the board.
What's going on with the fire department? I'm out of the loop.
They will be at our next meeting
Next
also.
thing.
So they'll provide an update at the next board meeting, and then we can discuss, the board can discuss what, if anything, they need to do. Okay?
Any other topics? Future agendas? All right. The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act.
Public comments?
Oh, public comment? Seeing none. The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act, sub C, sub 11, and 2, sub C, sub 1, where there will be no action taken following the session. Therefore, after the vote to go into closed session, the recording of tonight's meeting will be concluded. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act, sub 2, sub C, sub 11, and 2, sub C, sub 1 at 6:43 PM.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call.
Mr. Mankowski,
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalcup.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. We will start closed session in